everyone, it's Sammy from Scrapmaster's Paradise, and today I am reviewing the Little Moments app. This video is more of a walkthrough. I'm giving it a glowing review because I absolutely love it and it's helped me so much with my project life, and it makes my scrapbooking process super streamlined because I don't have to worry about alphas so much. And it seemed like I was always using alphas and running out of alphas, and now this really takes away a lot of the alphas, and so it's kind of a minimalist hack, I feel like, for project life because I can do everything from my phone and I don't have to worry about having 50,000 sets of alphas and running out of E's and R's and all that stuff. I still use alphas, I still love them, they're still one of my favorite scrapbooking things, but those things are freaking expensive. It's nice to be able to not have to depend on those for every little bit of writing that I do. So here is the app. The app actually is free, but there is an add-on pack that I went ahead and purchased it. I'll have to look up the price because I'm not exactly sure how much it was, but I think it was something like $5.99. So not a really expensive purchase, but it included a lot of extra things that I wanted to use, including extra fonts. So basically I just use this for the fonts and the basic elements. Olivia is in here helping me with this. So you can go ahead and take a picture or use pictures that you already have to get started. So I'm going to just pull up a picture here and we're just going to kind of play with it. So I'm not really doing anything specific on here. This is a picture of Olivia and her daddy. So you can crop the photo, you can make it a square, you can make it a 3x4 or 4x3, which is the same thing, just horizontal versus vertical, or 4x6, the same thing. So you could do a little bit of cropping because I know how it's going to print later on. And so there is my photo, and it gives you some filters you can use. There are some tools for basic editing. You can mess with the saturation. You can do some more cropping here if you didn't crop it early on, and then you can also rotate. So you can, do slight rotation if you need it, or you can do the 90-degree rotation. But I don't need any of that, so I'm going to leave the tools alone. I have gone in and messed with the tools just slightly to do a little bit of editing, especially like rotating. But I just stick with the text and the designs. Mostly there are quotes that you can do on here too. So it shows you how the quotes will show up. And so with the text and with the elements and with the quotes, they're all the same kind of thing. Like here, you can move it around with your finger. There's an X to get rid of it, and then there's this one to resize and rotate. So you can make it as big as you want, as small as you want, and it also rotates around at any degree. But you can see it kind of like jerks to a stop when you get to those 90-degree spots. It kind of stops itself, so you can see when it gets to the 90-degree spots. It also does the same thing with like just the slight little rotation. So anyway, you can play around with it, you can make it however you want. So we'll just, for the sake of this, we'll just stick it over here, and you can also add another quote. You can change the color of it. I really prefer the white because it's nice and clean, but you can make it any color that you want here. And if you pull up each color, let's see, so if you double tap on the color, you can change like the shade of it, a darker or a lighter red. And then you just hit the check when you're okay with it. And you can also mess with the opacity, so it's fully opaque all the way to invisible. So when you're happy with it, you can just leave it there and hit done, and you can save it or send it to all your social media. And then you can go back if you forgot something, or you can start a new one. So we're just going to go back because we're still playing, but that's what the quote function is. And then text is what I use the most. Like it says, you double tap to edit, so we'll just right here. So you just type whatever you want, and you can change the font, and they only give you a few basic fonts unless you purchase the add-on. So I really like the brush script. I use this brusher a lot, and I also use the curlier one called Little Cutie. I like both of those a lot, but they have all sorts of fonts in here that you could play around with. You can also mess with the alignment. You can make it left aligned, right aligned, and center. And so I'm happy with that. And then I just resize it however big that I want it. You can put it wherever you want. And if I'm doing like a smaller bit of text, I'll just go ahead and add another box here and start it, because it actually ends up keeping your text in your size. So if it's really huge, I go ahead and make it small before I start typing so that it doesn't run off my screen too badly. Because if you keep typing, it's going to run off your screen. It's going to be hard to find that resize thing later. So then I go back in and double tap it, clear it out, and I pick my font. I like to use, for the big writing, I like to use one of the scripty things. And for the small writing, I like to use one of the prints that's really nice and sleek. It gives it a good contrast. So I'm going to write here, Olivia and her daddy. Oops. Love to play on the rocks at the park. Okay, so you have to be really careful with your text because there's no auto-correcting on here. So if you mess up spelling, it's not going to catch it for you guys. You have to really pay attention. So that's one thing to note. I have misspelled things and had to reprint my photos because I didn't catch it at the time. I depend on that autocorrect so much sometimes. But there is my writing. And you'll notice how it went ahead and wrapped my text here, but it's not going to wrap it when I hit the button. So you can see nothing is wrapped. I have to go find the end piece and either shrink it down so that it all fits. So there, I can shrink it down to where it all fits, or you can go back into it and double tap it and make your own page breaks. So I end up just kind of playing around with it and going to the return, and that'll put it on 2 lines there. As you can see, you can make it a little bit bigger if you want to make it bigger, and play around with the location and the sizing. So since that one's highlighted, it doesn't matter where I'm clicking, it's going to be moving that one around until I click the other one back. And then you'll see that one's highlighted, and now that's the one I'm moving. Also, another thing to note is when you're moving things around, it does divide your photo out in like a grid pattern, so you can kind of line things up in thirds on the photo if you want to. So that can help sometimes lining things up. So that's mostly what I do, is I just do a little bit of journaling and the big words. And that's pretty much it. So you can change the color, you can go back and change the text, and you can change the opacity for anything text related. Another thing that I've been doing is I've been going and using just the basic designs. And so it will include a couple of these different design bundles, but if you want all of them, again, you have to pay for the full program. I have just gone in and used some of these simple shapes. I just make a shape and then I make the text writing black. So I'll put the writing right over it, but I'll change the color of the text. And black is all the way over to this side. So then I just have to play around with the sizing of the box. Oops, I have to hit check. I just play around with the sizing of the box so that, let's see, move that out of the way. I just play around with the sizing of the box so that my text fits in the box, and I'll adjust the sizing of my writing to make it fit. Something like that. So of course, I'm not going to have this on my picture covering up the actual picture itself, but sometimes I do that so that if the background's super busy, I like to be able to have the writing stand out a little bit more if the white doesn't really work with the background. So that's something else I've done. I've also just used the black writing on a lighter part of the photo, like the sky, so that you can just read it right on the photo, because I couldn't add white text up there. So those are just some of the things that you can do with this program. Of course, like the sky's the limit. You can really do more detailed stuff in here. I'm just deleting all that off my photo. You can do more detailed stuff with this. There's all sorts of designs that you can overlay on your photo, something like this. You can make it really big and change the opacity to where you can just barely see it. Something like that. Now you can do lots of different things with this app. I just barely scratched the surface by doing the text because that's the main thing that I want to do. I want to do my embellishing mostly with my scrapbook supplies, but I find that doing my journaling and my text on here, it looks really pretty, it's really sleek, and I don't have to worry with all the alphas, like I said. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little quick review and walkthrough of the Little Moments app. I will link to this app down below. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.